Making work easier sounds like progress. But what if easier also means less thinking? Because as AI removes friction from everyday tasks, something less visible may disappear as well. The moments where people stop, question, and reflect. Consider something simple: writing a report. In the past, drafting a document required time. You had to structure your thoughts, choose your words, and revise your arguments. That process was not just about producing text, it was part of thinking itself. Now, an AI system can generate a structured draft in seconds. It suggests phrasing, organizes arguments, and fills in details. The result looks polished. But the process is different. The effort shifts from creating to reviewing. This pattern is spreading across many types of work. AI tools summarize documents, generate code, suggest decisions, and automate workflows. In each case, friction is reduced. Tasks become faster, steps are skipped, output improves. From an efficiency perspective, this looks like clear progress. But friction was not always a problem. Sometimes it played a role in how thinking happened. Friction forces attention. When a task requires effort, people engage more deeply. They question assumptions, notice inconsistencies, and refine ideas. When that effort is removed, the process becomes smoother. But it may also become more passive. Instead of constructing an argument, someone evaluates one. Instead of solving a problem from scratch, they adjust a suggested solution. The role changes. This does not mean people stop thinking, but it can change when and how thinking occurs. If the first version of an output is generated automatically, the human role often begins at the second step: reviewing, editing, approving. That can be efficient, but it also means fewer opportunities to struggle with the problem directly. Consider decision making. AI systems can provide recommendations based on data analysis. They highlight patterns, rank options, and suggest actions. This can improve consistency and reduce errors. But it also changes the starting point. Instead of asking, "What should we do?" the question becomes, "Do we agree with this recommendation?" That shift may seem small, but it alters how decisions are formed. There is a reasonable counter-argument. Some observers argue that removing friction frees up time for higher-level thinking. If routine tasks become easier, people can focus on strategy, creativity, and complex problems. In many cases, that does happen. AI can reduce repetitive work and allow individuals to concentrate on more meaningful tasks. The intention is not to reduce thinking, but to redirect it. But this depends on how the time is used. In practice, efficiency gains are often absorbed by additional tasks: more emails, more reports, more outputs. The overall pace increases. And when speed becomes the priority, there may be less space for reflection. The system becomes faster, but thinking does not necessarily become deeper. There is also a subtle psychological effect. When outputs look polished and structured, they can feel more reliable. AI-generated text, analysis, or recommendations often appear coherent and complete. That can reduce the impulse to question them. Not because people cannot question them, but because the output feels finished. The friction that once triggered doubt is less visible. Over time, this can influence habits. If people regularly rely on automated suggestions, they may become less accustomed to building ideas from the ground up. Instead, they refine and adjust what is already there. This can be efficient, but it may reduce exposure to alternative approaches that emerge during the initial thinking process. Second-order effects may appear at the organizational level. If workflows are optimized for speed and automation, decision cycles can become shorter. That can be beneficial, but it can also reduce the time available for discussion and debate. Teams may move quickly from input to output, with fewer pauses in between. Coordination improves, but reflection may decrease. Another effect is standardization. When many organizations use similar tools, outputs may begin to resemble each other. Reports follow similar structures. Recommendations are framed in similar ways. The process becomes smoother across the system, but diversity of thought may narrow. Not because people think less, but because they think within similar frameworks. None of this suggests that reducing friction is a mistake. In many cases, it leads to real improvements. Work becomes more efficient, errors decrease, access to information increases. These are meaningful benefits. The question is not whether friction should exist. It is what role it plays. Some forms of friction are unnecessary. They slow down work without adding value. Others create space for thinking. They force people to engage with problems more directly. As AI systems remove friction, distinguishing between these types may become important. The challenge is not to reintroduce inefficiency. It is to preserve moments of reflection within efficient systems. Some organizations are already experimenting with this. They introduce deliberate pauses in decision processes. They encourage independent thinking before reviewing automated suggestions. They separate idea generation from evaluation. These practices can help maintain depth without sacrificing speed. As AI becomes more integrated into everyday work, this balance may matter more. Efficiency will continue to improve. Workflows will become smoother. But thinking does not automatically follow the same path. AI can remove friction from tasks, but it cannot decide how people engage with the results. That remains a human choice. And in some cases, the most important thinking may happen not when the process is smooth, but when something slows it down.